Okay, so this is video number 8, and I will talk about the high school years of dealing with Crohn's disease. My ninth grade year in high school, I didn't go to the first day because that probably about a week or two before, I ended up getting a really bad abscess on my ear, and I still have this scar there. I don't know if you can really kind of see it, but the scar is still there where they had to lance it. I also have one on this side too. You can kind of see that this scar right here where they ended up cutting it open. But what happened was that I have these little black holes at the top of my ear, and I guess they're called pits. And again, I don't know if you can see that, but it ended up getting infected, and I didn't even know it could get infected. I had no clue whatsoever, but it did, and my ear ended up swelling up like a golf ball. Like I had this huge knot on the side of my head, and the pressure was so bad, like it was starting to push my earlobe down. And so I ended up having to go see a ear, nose, and throat doctor. And that's when they said that, oh, she has an abscess. And so they ended up having to, cut it open and drain it. And it ended up, unfortunately, closing up without draining all of the infection out. So it ended up getting right back huge again. And unfortunately, I think it was the day before school started, I had to get it relanced open again. So I have this big patch on my ear that's like covering the whole side of my face. And my mom was like, do you really want to go to school? And I didn't even want to have it done again because I was like, I'm going to miss the first day of school. So she was like, well, not a lot of people go to the first day of school anyway. And I was like, I really don't want to go to the first day of school with a huge white patch on the side of my face. So I ended up missing the first day of school for ninth grade year. But I did go to the second day, and thankfully by then it had kind of calmed down a little bit. But I was dealing with that abscess probably for like the first month of school because I kept having, problems with it. And then once that one kind of healed up, this one ended up getting infected also. So again, I have this huge knot on my face. And this one right here wasn't so close to the ear. It was, as you can see, the scar is literally on the side of my face. And that's where the knot was. So, I mean, it was pretty embarrassing. Like, I had to go to some of my doctor's appointments where they would lance it open again, and I'd go back to school, and you could see the blood like coming like on the gauze pad, and people would be like, oh my gosh, what happened? And I had my long hair at that time, and so I tried to hide it as best as I could, trying to put my hair over in front of it. But like if you were close enough to see me, you would be able to see it. So that was probably one of the most kind of embarrassing things of starting a new school year with a big ass patch on my face. I did kind of tell a lie that the reason how it happened was that my brother ended up making me hit my head against the bedpost. And I think that was probably when the lying spree took place, because whenever there was an issue with my Crohn's, I just lie about it. I would make up some of the most ridiculous stuff. Like I said, instead of me telling them that it was an abscess, because I was like, nobody knows what an abscess is. Most people don't know what an abscess is. Instead of me telling them that, oh, it's a huge pus bump, I said, oh, wait, I had to get it, it was I hit my head. I think I had like 3 different lies going on. I think I even told one person that I was riding my bike and I fell off and I hit the side of my head. Something stupid like that, and they believed it. So, that high school, my 9th grade year didn't get bad until Christmas break, where I will admit I had stopped taking my medication. Because one thing that would get me in trouble is that if I would miss 1 or 2 days and, I didn't see a change in how, everything was kind of going pretty good, my stomach wasn't hurting so bad, and, so I'd be like, oh, okay, I may have forgotten maybe for 1 or 2 days, and I'm like, hey, well, you know what, maybe I'm okay, maybe I don't need to keep taking my medicine every day. So I skipped like a week of medicine, and I'm like, okay, well, you know what, shoot, I guess I don't need to take it anymore. 2 weeks go by. Guess who has a flare? Me. So I would really kind of get in trouble with doing that, because I guess I would get too cocky that, oh, the medicine is not really, I can go a couple days without taking my medicine and I'll be okay. But unfortunately, that Christmas break, guess who ended up in the hospital? Me. So, I was in there, and I believe they ended up putting me back on that godforsaken, central line. I think that was when they brought it back, was at that time. And, I was also on a really, really high dose of prednisone, because let's put it this way, when I left for Christmas break, I was really, really thin. I was really skinny. You could tell that I had lost a lot of weight. And when I came back from Christmas break, I was fat, like thick cheeks and all. And people were like, what happened to you? And I was like, I'm in the hospital, I have to take steroids, this medication that makes my cheeks really fat. So of course I'm like really, really self-conscious. Like I was dreading going back to school, because I knew people would notice that, okay, something's not right. Like, why is her face that fat? Like, why does she look like that? Because when I left, I didn't look like that. I looked like a completely different person. So I definitely was like, I would go on daily walks to try to build my self-esteem up, because, I really kind of didn't want to go back and show people that, what had happened to me. I remember the first day back, and in gym class, there was this girl, and I could hear them whispering, like, what is going on with her? Like, why is her face so fat or whatever? And she, like, I had my head turned, and she called me. She was like, Jada, are you okay? And I looked, I turned my head. I didn't want to, because I knew they were, talking about, what I looked like. And I said, yeah, I'm fine. I had to go in the hospital over, the Christmas break. And they were like, oh, okay, well, are you feeling better? And I was like, yeah, I'm doing okay now. But, certain things like that, like, you can't hide it. Like, how can you hide chipmunk cheeks? You can't hide it. So that, thankfully, it kind of drained off, and my face kind of returned back to normal. I would say 10th and 11th grade year was pretty good. I didn't really have a lot of things going on. I do, however, remember, I think it was either 10th or 11th grade year, I ended up having, I think it was a vitamin B or vitamin D deficiency, where, and this was totally new to me, but I would have really bad tingling in my feet where I couldn't even walk. Like, it would hurt so bad to walk. And I ended up not even being able to go to school And they put me on like these vitamin supplements because I would start having the nerves in my feet would start making my feet they would jerk, like they would just move, and I wouldn't be doing it. And that was one of the things that I definitely didn't understand. You know, I'm wearing like these little loafers, or they look like really little black bedroom shoes, because to school. And of course that's embarrassing, because I'm like, everybody was like, oh my gosh, why you got on grandma shoes? And I'm just like, look, I'm having some issues right now with my feet. I can't do nothing about it. So, you know, 11th and 12th grade year, the last time I ended up having to go back in the hospital for a long period of time was my 12th grade year. And I think I was in the hospital for about 2 or 3 weeks. And again, it was because I had stopped taking my medicine. I was a little cocky, and felt like I didn't need it. And I ended up almost passing out. Actually, no, I think I did. I think I did pass out. That was one thing that I started doing also during my middle school years, was I would have fainting spells, where if I hadn't eaten, or if I really needed something to drink, I would faint. And I would feel myself getting ready to do it, where I had about 2 seconds to alert somebody to catch me. Like, I went and rode my bicycle one time to the corner store for me and my brother, and by the time I got there, I really needed to sit down, and I could feel my head starting to just spin. And I was starting to sweat, and the room was starting to spin. And I just remember like going down, and they had like, I guess, this grill for some kind of prize thing. I hit the grill and hit the floor. And all I remember was somebody, you know, taking me over to the bench and was like, you know, do I need to call 911? And I said, no, can I just get something to drink? And that's what would happen. I think I about fell out of Busch Gardens one time. Thankfully, my brother was behind me and he caught me. And then he drugged me over to the, you know, picnic bench and was like, look, just stay here. But, you know, if I would do that if I waited too long. To either eat or get something to drink. And even still to this day, if I wait too long, I won't faint, but I will get I'll get really, really dizzy, and I'll start to sweat, and my hands will shake really, really bad, and I'd have to get something sweet to, you know, try to help stop it. But back to 12th grade year, I ended up going into the hospital. I ended up having to go into the intensive care unit because it was so bad. And to be quite honest, I didn't even eat at all, like, that entire week. My Crohn's was like, it was flaring so bad, and all I was doing was using the bathroom like the entire week. I went from, I believe I was 120 or 130, and by the time I left, I was 100 pounds. Like, I was small. I lost all of my weight. Actually, no, I believe I was a little bit bigger. I probably maybe 130, 135. Either way, I lost all of my weight that week from being in the intensive care unit because I couldn't eat. I could not eat anything out. Every day it was just horrible pain in my stomach. You know, I was sweating. I was throwing up everything, and I was barely even eating. I don't even think I can't even remember. I think I was on a clear liquid diet. And of course, I mean, seriously, clear liquid. So, you know, I wasn't really taking in anything. But that was, I was in there for a couple of weeks. And when I got out, I think I was wearing like a size 6 or 7. And when I came out, I was wearing a 00. And I stayed that way, that size, for a good couple of years. I could not gain that weight back. It wasn't until I got my ostomy that I was able to gain my weight back. I tried so hard to gain it back. I used to take weight gainer, from GNC, to gain the weight, but it would not. I asked my doctor, can I go on a nutrition plan, because I just felt like I was too small. But, you know, those were some really, really hard years for me, because I ended up having to, you know, when we changed classes, I started realizing, okay, the best times to go and use the bathroom, because I mean, there was no holding it. Like, there was no, like, when I had to go, I had to go, because it was going to come out whether I wanted it to or not. So a friend of mine, she would laugh because it was second period, and I'd always ask to go to the bathroom like 15-20 minutes before the bell would ring. Like, that was my bathroom time, because I knew whenever I ate breakfast that morning, I would, you know, my stomach, by the time my stomach digested everything, it'd be time for me to use the bathroom like around in second period. So that became like my bathroom time. And I knew which one to go to, because maybe only 1 or 2 people were there. And thank God those girls would smoke. So, hey, it would mask the smell. So thank you to all the smokers in high school, because you helped a sister out. But yeah, I knew the bathrooms to go to, you know, at certain times of the day, so I could relieve myself. Even though, you know, I was told that I could use a teacher's bathroom, but I mean, if I was in a classroom that was on the other side of the building, like, there's no way I'm going to make it. I'm just not going to make it in time. So I had to get creative. And I feel like, you know, that's really what you have to do. Most people with Crohn's disease, they know where the bathrooms are at that time. They know if they are going to be out for that day, you know, for a long period of time, they're going to eat according to, you know, what they have to do, because, you know, the longer you are away from the bathroom, or the longer you are out, you know, out and about, the more chances you really have to use the bathroom. So you have to know where these places were. Like I had said before, I didn't like going to the mall, because I had to keep stopping and walking. Like, if my stomach would start to hurt really, really bad, I had to sit down and like wait for it to calm down. If I wanted to try clothes on in the dressing room, I felt like my stomach would set me up where it would be fine while I'm looking at clothes and everything. But as soon as I got my behind in that dressing room, like, it was like I was keeling over, like, oh, come on, like, I just had to go to the bathroom right then. So, you know, I mean, a lot of these things you can't really control. You know, you just really have to adapt to your surroundings. So, you know, I definitely commend any student or kid that is in elementary school, middle school, or high school that is going through Crohn's disease, you know, and trying to explain what it is, and you know, making those necessary changes to your routine, because I mean, it can be hard. Let's face it. Even adults act like you're not supposed to go number 2 in a public restroom. And I'm sorry, but for some of us who have IBD, IBS, Crohn's disease, colitis, that doesn't work with us. We cannot hold it until we get home. So I don't understand what the stigma is for going number 2 in a public bathroom. Like, I really feel like we should be more accepting to people's what issues people have at this point in time. You can't tell somebody, ew, you're not supposed to use, you ain't supposed to be going number 2 in a public restroom. Why not? It's a restroom. It was created so that we could excrete our, you know, whatever we need to let out. Pee, poop, diarrhea, throw up, whatever. So, you know, that probably would be my biggest gripe, you know, still today, is that, you know, people act like it's a bad thing to have to go number 2. So anyways, this is video number 8, and I will see you guys later.